Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits. We got a lot of stuff to go through over the next couple hours, over the next several hours. Okay, just want to give you guys a fair warning. We're in part 2 of a 3-show day, so just giving you guys an update or just giving you guys a kindly reminder about that. But this dropped last night, and I had already had the interview, the conversation, not really interview, but the discussion that I had with our friend Lauren Conlon that was already scheduled for this morning. So I had no idea that this interview was even remotely going to drop at all until later on in the afternoon when Brian Anton gave us that little teaser for this interview. And of course, I was like, dang, I do want to cover this, but when it aired, it was too late. And also at the same time, I had already had a discussion scheduled for it this morning. So I wanted to make sure that we were able to squeeze this in this afternoon. Like I said, I got a whole other conversation, a whole other story to give you guys, because that story deserves some more light under some more light. Okay, some more light under the sun. Okay, some more focus as well, which I'll explain to you in a little bit. Maybe you guys haven't seen the show, this morning's show, but we're going to be talking about a few things tonight. So be on the lookout for that. I mean, all depending. I'm waiting on something. It may be at the time that I have scheduled. It may be a little bit later. I'm still waiting on some information about something else. I'll explain in a little bit if I need to explain in a little bit. But anyway, guys, please do me a favor, okay? Before we get everything started, hit that like button down below, please and thank you. Crush it. Send it past 300 likes as you guys start to file in, okay? I appreciate every single last one of y'all for being here, watching this, because I know some of y'all, this may be old news for you guys. And some of y'all, this may be new news. So let's take a look at this, okay? Don't forget to hit that reaction button if you're watching on Facebook, okay? Hit that like button if you're watching on Twitter as well, please and thank you. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that follow button on my Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all those platforms, please and thank you. Of course, if you want to support the channel, hit that join button down below if you're watching on YouTube. Become a member of the family. Or you can support the channel even further by hitting up patreon.com/the Pascal Show. It's in the ticker down below, right there underneath me, going that way if you want to support. And check out pascalmerch.com, okay? We got some really great stuff over there. Go take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here again. You know, we have been going through the gamut today. Okay, this morning's show was a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but hey, that's just how roller coaster rides be. Okay, it's been a weird and wild ride. It's been a weird and wild trip when it comes to the Sebastian Rogers case. But at the same time, I get it. But I just want us to make sure that we stay focused on the main goal, finding Sebastian, right? But anyway, on to other pastures. We got another case. We still have this case, Riley Strain, out here for everyone to see. We are still wanting to know what happened to Riley Strain. The family is trying to find out what actually happened to Riley Strain. I mean, let's keep it real. Your son goes and disappears in Nashville. This becomes a huge case. Becomes national, international news. Everyone wants to know what happened because he goes and walks down the street and there's footage of him stumbling all over the place, falling, tripping, etc. Then he walks by the river and then poof, disappears out of nowhere. There were theories, there were eyewitness accounts, etc. Some of those things added up. Some of those things were debunked later on, but still, no matter what, people were speaking, which is better than nothing, right? And then he's found 8.5 miles down the river from where he was last seen. Now, we learned on the show that, yeah, he didn't have pants on, didn't have his boots on, and that he had a belt on him that he always wore, traditionally wore a belt all the time. Doesn't matter. He always wore a belt. I'm the same way. I'm going to be real. I let's keep it a buck. I am always wearing a belt at all times. Doesn't matter if the pants are nice and snug. I'm always wearing a belt. It just feels like an incomplete sentence with the outfit. You got to make sure everything's on point. You know what I mean? Coordinate. You feel me? So without a belt doesn't make sense, at least for me. But given the fact that he was wearing a belt and he had his boots on before he entered the water, that's the one thing that a lot of people are wondering. What the heck happened here? Did he fall into the water without his pants and without his boots on? Or did the river strip those things off of his body? A few things you got to factor in. His socks and his underwear were still on his body. I know a lot of people would be like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But wait a second. Think about it. Underwear, if you jump in the water, depending on how tight you like your underwear, fellas, that's up to you guys. That's another conversation in itself. Majority of the time, if you jump into a pool, for example, and say, there are those days, I'm sure some of you guys have done this in the past, where it's like, hey, it's the pool, it's hot outside, you don't have some swimming trunks. I've seen people go and jump in their underwear a million times into a pool. Not sitting there saying that's the most sanitary thing to do, but a lot of people have done it in the past. So when you do get out of that pool, sopping wet, what usually happens to your boxers, ladies and germs? I mean, fellas, let's be real. What happens to the boxers? They start to sag. They don't get tighter, they get looser. So you're telling me that throughout this very raucous stream and current that was coursing through the river, it rips off everything, the hardest things to take off of a body, but it doesn't take off the loosest things like underwear and socks. When they get wet, they just might as well say goodbye to them. You might as well just jump into the pool, if you will, buck naked. Because what's the point? It's going to fall right off your body. So pants get ripped off, belt was on, and boots get ripped off as well, but it doesn't take off his socks and underwear. And even the shirt that he still had on his body as well, which, as we saw in the body cam footage, you could tell it's kind of loose on his body. You're telling me it wouldn't have ripped off his body as well? That's a mighty, mighty picky stream, if you really think about it. Mighty fashion-sensed current, if you will. Oh, no, we're only going to get the pants and the boots because those are the most expensive things on his body, but we'll leave the rest on his body. Okay, current, let's continue flowing down the river. Does that make sense? To me, it doesn't. Keep his underwear on. Let's be respectful. And we don't need to see his toes. Keep those socks on. Does that make sense? I'm telling you, it doesn't. Okay? The river has no fashion sense whatsoever. So why would it suddenly go, I want the boots. Ooh, I want the pants. Make it make sense. So, of course, the family's sitting there saying the same thing. Make it make sense. It makes no sense that boots that he would have to sit down and just wrench off of his feet, dry, by the way, would suddenly just slip off in the river. Let's not forget, we have already talked about the pants, but the boots. And if you've ever worn anything that was leather and you've ever been wet with leather on, it's like it's glued to your skin. It's already hard to rip off the boot when you're dry, when you're just trying to get to bed, right? After a long day of hanging out, you're doing your thing. It takes a minute to take those boots off. So you're telling me he goes, as soon as he gets into the water, they just slip off like that, like nothing, like slippers? Doesn't make any sense. And that's why the family feels the exact same way. That's why they did a second autopsy. That's the reason why they're still doing interviews and having conversations right now, because they still believe that something wrong happened. Something sinister may have happened to their son. And let's not forget this too, guys. Let's add this in here, okay? We got to throw another log into the fire. Brian Entin did drop like a breadcrumb, like actually a big teaser for this interview earlier yesterday. This is the reason why I was like, okay, I need to watch this together, okay? I need to watch this with you guys as a family together. Because he said this, the family said, hey, allegedly he sent a text message to his own mama saying, hey, this rum and coke tastes like barbecue. Now, I don't know about you, but I ain't never tasted any drink that tasted like barbecue unless there was like barbecue, like remnants of barbecue on the side of the cup, and I happened to drink from the cup, and then the sauce of the barbecue got into what I was drinking as well, and then I'm drinking it and it tastes like barbecue. But I ain't never tasted rum and cokes ever in my life that tasted like barbecue. It's odd. It's very odd. But then he said, hey, we're going to show you guys the whole interview. We're going to watch, show you guys the full-on sit down that I had with the Riley Strain family. We're going to talk about it, so on and so forth. But that's very odd. The text messages. And of course, the other part I wonder is why suddenly this came out. And I talked about this in the pop-up video, just reacting to this video, to the teaser that Brian Entin put out. Shout out to Brian Entin for his fantastic work. He always does great work. And I said, hey, why would this come out now all of a sudden? Now, I will say this. I know a lot of people are already asking that question. But you never know what somebody's going through until you're actually going through it yourself. And a mother who is so grief-stricken, so paralyzed by fear, by fearing the worst thing to ever happen to her. She is literally living her worst nightmare. I don't think the first thing in her mind is, let me go back into the text messages and see if he talks about barbecue. I'm just being real. I guess some people are going to feel some type of way. They're probably a little bit of pushback and whatnot. Hey, good on you. Use your brain matter. Keep thinking. Do whatever you need to do. All I ask is you guys think independently, all right, and constructively. And come up with your own assumptions. But at the end of the day, I feel like she, and I said this in the pop-up video, but I feel like she went back, was going through her text messages, maybe just wanting to relive some beautiful moments that she had with her son via text message. Maybe there's photos that he sent her the night before, anything of that sort. She wanted to just live through that moment. And then suddenly saw the text messages and was like, whoa, oh my gosh. That's weird. And he could have been texting her that in jest. Let's not forget that too. He could have been texting just to be a little jokester. But it seems a little bit odd, don't you think? That he would text her that at the same time, minutes or hours later, he's gone. He disappears. Doesn't make sense. But there are some things that I want to point out really quick before we go into the video, because we got the video right here. We are going to watch it as a family. I promise you, we are going to watch it as a family. In fact, let me find a still here. There it is. Okay. We are going to be watching this video, okay, and this interview all together, okay? But let me just say this, all right? This text message could tell us something, could give us some sort of timeline. I said it in the pop-up, but I'm going to say it again here too. I don't care. But think about it, guys. What are the possibilities of him texting her and he's still at Jason Aldean's bar, or he's at another bar, you know, he's at the Lambert bar or something of that sort, because they were hitting up bars. They were bar hopping. What are the chances of him actually being at another bar and he sent a text message to her going, yeah, this alcohol, this drink tastes like barbecue. One thing that's really important is that Luke's 32 Bridge could be exonerated, could be completely exonerated when it comes to the possibility of them slipping something in his drink before he was kicked out of that bar. They could basically say, hey, timeline shows that he was drinking something funny somewhere else. So maybe somebody was lurking in the shadows, saw him as a possible target and said, he's the one tonight. Slip something in his drink somewhere else and not Luke's 32 Bridge. And then whatever was going on kicked in right around that time, and then he got kicked out because he was quote unquote overserved. And then he went on and did his thing and he disappeared. And of course he was found a little while later. If that text message is true and the toxicology report comes back saying that there was something in his system that would give off that would definitely say that he drank something that was laced, that could very much mean that he was targeted way before he went into Lucas 32 Bridge. Just something to think about. Like I said, it's not confirmation, okay? Like there's no confirmation of this. This is just me asking the questions. But I feel like that piece of information could give us a new timeline. And then also, it could also say that he was targeted. And if he was targeted, who are those people? So let's take a look at this video, okay? Let's take a look at this interview, okay? I appreciate all y'all for being here. Please definitely hit the number one. Let me know you guys can hear this. Also hit that like button down below. That would really mean a lot. Also, before we get into the weeds and before we get into the thickness of this, because, you know, as we already know, this case has been getting thicker than a snicker, okay? It has been thick as hell. But I do want to tell you guys another case that I'm going to be covering tonight is over the Sade Robinson case out in Milwaukee, okay? We will be covering that tonight. Young black woman, parts of her remains were found in a park. That's all I'm going to tell you. Monster has been arrested. But I got questions about this. She was on a date with this monster and she never returned home. So we will be talking about that tonight. Sade Robinson. We will be discussing that tonight. Hopefully by the end of this show, I'll be able to tell you exactly what time I will be on talking about that. But please hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button, okay? Like I said, we got many miles to go before we sleep tonight. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let's rock and roll into this story, shall we? All right? Yeah. Those dating sites are insane. Those dating sites are insane. Let's get into this. Hit the number one. Let me know you guys can hear this video. Let's rock and roll.
all sorts of information about the disappearance and death of Riley that we never knew before, including, and this was something that was so distressing to me, the 911 call suggesting that the operator said, don't worry about it. He's probably just off with some bridesmaid somewhere and he'll turn up. I'm paraphrasing, but it was uncomfortable to hear a cavalier attitude to someone calling for help from the authorities. Tell me a little bit more about what you've been learning about the route that Riley took that night before he ended up on the riverbank.
Yeah, and the rain has stopped, Ashley. Again, the weather has just been crazy in this part of the country. But yeah, Riley Strain, of course, the young college student who went missing in Nashville, was there partying with his frat brothers beginning of March. Tragic story. Before I came here to Kansas and Oklahoma, I was in Missouri meeting with his parents, and they revealed all sorts of new information that we had never heard before. They had been focused on grieving, and before that, finding Riley, and now they're opening up about all of these other details about what they've learned happened that night. They were able to get Riley's bank records now, and we now have a look. We have a map at exactly which bars he went to. We knew Luke Bryan's bar, but we now know all the bars, and we know the order that he attended those bars.
Okay. He's going to break it down, but look at those. Look at the breakdown. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you hit up Miranda Lambert's, Garth Brooks, Kid Rock's, and Luke Bryan's bar. All of them. Okay. In succession. That is in numerical order. That's crazy. But thank God for bank statements. Thank God that for debit cards and credit cards, you can follow all that stuff, right? Let's continue.
It was Miranda Lambert's bar first, Garth Brooks' bar second, Kid Rock's bar third, and then he ended up at Luke Bryan's bar fourth. And again, they've figured this out by looking at his bank records. And they've revealed something else that they've never talked about before, Ashley. It's shocking. It is a conversation, a text message conversation that Riley had with his mother at one of those bars. They're not sure which one he was at, not Luke Bryan's bar, but one of the ones before. I want you to listen to what they said.
He had sent me a text and said that he had ordered he was drinking a rum and coke and it didn't taste good. And I said, well, you probably shouldn't drink it then. He goes, well, it tastes like barbecue. And I go, well, that sounds awful. And he said, well, it sounds good, but it's not.
When a rum and coke normally tastes the same. I mean, that's not something that you really normally tastes any different.
Right.
It has a very consistent taste.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yes.
You ain't wrong.
And that's why I'm like, you probably shouldn't drink that then.
Do you think that could have something to do with what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe there was something in it that shouldn't have been.
I mean, even if there wasn't foul play at the river, but if something happened in the bar, that's the kind of thing that could hurt someone else.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you hear about that happening to women, but it likely happens to men too, I'm sure.
I mean, we're hearing many, many things about men getting laced with things without them knowing, and so on and so forth. I mean, Diddy. So, just to be completely honest, plenty of people are getting laced with stuff nowadays. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter your sex. Doesn't matter your orientation. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. If people are getting targeted just for the sake of getting targeted, it's insane. But let's continue here.
From the stories that we've been told from Uber drivers and just different individuals that reached out to us that either happened to a family member or happened to them in Nashville, there's something there.
There's something going on in that town.
They just both said it. There's something going on in that town. Dag nabbit, there is something going on in that town.
It just feels like you come up to a stopping point. Every time we get somewhere, it just feels like there's something holding everybody back from fully giving us what we need. And there's just something there. There is something. It's just,
Be it money or bad publicity.
right. We don't know, but we truly want to try to help, the situation and help others.
Let me just say this really quick. They're saying exactly what I've been saying since the start of this case. Well, actually, not since the start. As the case has progressed and we hear about local law enforcement not really law enforcing out here, the fact that his case was being conducted by cold case detectives, etc. Now, I get it that sometimes they will pass responsibilities over if their department is spread thin, but at the same time, this was such a huge case that you'd think that this would be in the forefront of that department, for that department. It doesn't make any sense. They even said it multiple times on Banfield and other shows as well, basically saying, on news shows, by the way, national news, saying, hey, we've been out here. We've been trying to get transparency with law enforcement. We haven't gotten anything from LE. What the heck is going on? There's been a lot of weird movement going on. They're saying it right now, that there's people, there are elements in here, that there's a bit of pushback. They're not willing to put out information. They're not willing to speak up, etc. Why? Why would they do that? This ain't a small town, even though one of the guys who wrote that song owns, has his name on one of the bars, but at the same time, like, this ain't a small town. So why? Why are they withholding information like it is a small town? He even said it. This gentleman right here even said it. Hey, money. And we've already talked about that before. Nashville's a very, very big touristy spot. People fly in from all over the world to see where country music was made. Oh, this is where country music was made. This is wild. Damn, this is like Disneyland for drinkers and country music fans. They don't want people to not go there out of fear of something happening like what happened to Riley. They don't want that to happen. So what are they going to do? They're going to sweep the story under the rug. They're going to ignore it. They're going to sit there and go, oh, yeah. We're working on it. It's not, there is no foul play. There's no indication of foul play. And they're going to keep it moving. And that's exactly what's happening here. This is the only reason I feel one of the only reasons why the family is coming out and speaking out right now, because Riley's name is starting to fizzle away. The case is starting to fizzle away. It's usually when the body has been found, people go, because everyone's going, where's Riley? Where is Riley? And then as soon as he's found, it's like, he was found? Okay. And they move on. And suddenly Riley's name starts to fade away, slowly but surely. I feel if local law enforcement was doing their due diligence, doing their job, I think that this would not be a fading away of a situation. He'd still be a very prominent subject matter. He'd still be a very prominent case right now. But they're not going to put it out there like that, because they want that tourist money. And so many people want to step forward and say more things, and they are getting shut down. It's very weird. And this is not coming from me or some random bystander calling into the show. This is coming from the family's mouths themselves. And I'll tell you what, they're not crazy. They're not crazy. Keep on listening. You might learn you something. Let's continue.
Nobody needs to go through what we've had to go through, the way that we've had to go through it. I mean, they're still telling us it's an accident. Fine. Show me the proof that you have that it's an accident. I'll accept it.
So now Ashley questions of whether Riley was roofied based on that conversation that he had with his mom, and obviously the way that he was acting in some of the surveillance video that didn't make sense. We've learned there's a state investigation now on top of the local investigation, which apparently has ended and isn't continuing. The state now looking at cameras from the bars, according to the family, trying to figure out what he drank. Did someone slip something in his drinks?
Let me just roll that back one more time, because local PD, Nashville PD they stopped their investigation. So now it has gone to the state. Take a listen to this. This is interesting.
With his mom, and obviously the way that he was acting in some of the surveillance video that didn't make sense. We've learned there's a state investigation now on top of the local investigation, which apparently has ended and isn't continuing. The state now
They're not continuing the local investigation. Weird, right? But state is involved now. Does that mean anything? Will it be like, oh, now we're going to get justice? Or no?
looking at cameras from the bars, according to the family, trying to figure out, what he drank. Did someone slip something in his drinks? All of that now being looked at, Ashley.
Well, I sure hope that the state investigators, if they find that someone slipped something into his drink and he died as a result of it, I hope they charge that person with felony murder, because drugging someone is a felony. And
Damn
when
right.
someone dies as the result of your felony, you get charged with the resulting murder. That is so distressing to hear that. Brian, excellent digging. And I know that there's a lot more. By the way, please go get shelter. Thank you for, doing this in such bad weather down there, and all the digging and all the double duty today, Brian. Thank you so much. Excellent job.
Thanks, Ash.
And I've got a whole lot more of Brian's exclusive interview with Riley Strain's parents coming up after the break, because while they were on the ground in Nashville and they were personally searching everywhere they could, what were Riley's frat brothers doing? Riley's mom and dad said they could not believe how these young men behaved. And you may not believe it either.
Thank you. That's the other thing I want to know, Dagnabbit. What's up with the frat boys? What's up with the fraternity, yo? Why would they do all of this? They left this kid behind. They left him high and dry. Sure, there may have been two of them on the phone with him trying to get him back to the hotel, but they didn't know exactly where they were going either. They were just drunk and letting him just walk aimlessly through. It sounds like a bad part of town. So what's up with the frat boys? Okay, what's up with that? Let's go.
Hear it all next.
Hamburger.
To Riley's buying that Nashville bar to dead in the Cumberland River. Nashville police are still insisting it was a tragic accident and nothing more. But the family is not buying that. As for Riley's brothers at his fraternity at the University of Missouri, you may be shocked when you hear how they reacted to Riley's real family when that family needed support the most. Not only that, we got more now of an interview you'll see now only on News Nation about that drink, about the disappearance, and about what happened afterwards. Here's Riley Strain's mom and dad and step-parents with our Brian Enton.
They've got a mountain of evidence that they're working on filtering through, and he has been in contact several times throughout this whole investigation.
Do you think that could lead to some answers in terms of maybe if there was something in the drink? I would think there's got to be all sorts of cameras.
So we heard there was 150 cameras in Luke Bryan's bar, I believe it was. We hope that'll lead to something.
So, it's interesting because he wasn't in Luke Bryan so long as we thought. According to what the detectives told us timeline this week, he'd left Garce and went to Kid Rock's, and then spent an hour in Kid Rock's, then showed up at Luke Bryant's at 9:15, I believe is what the detective told us. He was in Luke Bryant's from 9:15 to 9:36, 21 minutes. He had one beer, two waters.
A beer.
Last time I checked, every time you go into these bars, you have to show ID, probably have to pay a cover. And so if he didn't meet the protocol to be in there after being in there 21 minutes. I can't imagine a lot changed in that 21 minutes from when he was paying to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just thinking about, you've got celebrity bars involved. You've got Nashville, which is a huge tourist destination. You've got a big fraternity with chapters all over the country. A lot of people who probably just would prefer that you guys stop doing these interviews.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not going to stop until we get satisfied with some sort of answer somewhere, because where we're at right now still doesn't make sense.
Still a mission. The objective is still the same, to find out what really happened, because everything we're seeing, it doesn't add up. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. If it was, we wouldn't be sitting here.
The fraternity.
No doubt. We're going to go into the fraternity part here in a second, but he's got a point. I mean, there's no, it's not simple math with this situation. There's a lot of movement that happened. And you got to remember too, and I didn't get a chance to say this earlier, but they went to multiple bars. It wasn't like they just went straight over to Luke's bar and just kicked it. They went to several different ones before that. And then let's not forget, they were probably pre-gaming before they even went out to any of those bars. There's a good solid possibility of that. And I don't know how long that they stayed in each and every single bar, but they hopped around. It looked like they spent time in each and every single one of them. And there's enough time to knock back a beer or a drink or a couple shots before you move on to the next spot. Especially, let's be real, you're a fraternity brother, you're a frat boy, it's the weekend, you're in a town that you don't know anybody. What's going to happen? It's the excitement of being in Nashville. You're hoping to go pick up some girls, get some numbers, that kind of thing, and go home with a story to tell. What are the possibilities of them just tying one on? Like, the whole point is to just get blasted, have a great time, get some cool photos, have a great time, go back home, be like, yo, Nashville was lit, man. That could very well been the plan. So before they even walked into the first bar, they could have already been super wasted by then. That doesn't justify or condemn what happened to Riley, but I'm just saying, put those things into consideration. You're already tying one on. You're already kicking it, having a great time. They probably Ubered down there, so that means they could probably drink a little bit more without the responsibility of operating any type of heavy machinery, if you get what I'm saying. So they'll probably have a little roadies or little shot, bottles. You know what I'm saying? Banging those out as they're going downtown. They go to the first bar. They go kick it. They get a couple drinks, so on and so forth. I mean, you put all those things into consideration. By the time he gets to Lucas, even though it's still early in the night, they had probably been tying one on all day. Tying one on all day. Man, I've heard those stories of people going and kicking it for St. Patty's Day, and they'll start really early in the morning, so that by the time it's 9 o'clock at night, they sleep. Sawn logs gone. Okay? They passed out. All right? Seen plenty of those stories. Okay? It's like, man, how long you been drinking? Man, I've been drinking since 11 this morning. What? How are you still standing? All of those things. St. Patty's Day, Mardi Gras, Cinco de Mayo, all of those big drinking events, we all know that person. We all have that friend or that acquaintance that as soon as they wake up, they're drinking all day. But by the time, before the sun goes down for the night, that person's stumbling all over the place. So what are the chances of the same type of thing going on here? Waking up, kicking it, pre-gaming, drinking, so on and so forth. Go downtown. He's already lit. But at the same time, if it's true about this barbecue drink, maybe there was somebody in there seeing that he was just already visibly very drunk and said, he's the target tonight. I like his boots. Whatever it may be. Possible. Very possible. But what breaks my heart, which is the next part, he's talking about the frat boys. What breaks my heart is that the frat guys, man, what did they do? They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything, guys. They didn't do a damn thing, y'all. They just let him walk out. And then as he disappeared, we didn't hear anybody step forward and speak out on behalf of the fraternity. No spokesperson. No friend that was with him, hanging out with him. No friend, no fraternity brother speaking on behalf. Nothing. In fact, what's interesting is we had an interview with Chris Dingman. He came onto the show. Shout out to Chris. Thank you so much for holding it down and being the spokesperson for the Strain family. But he came on the show. He dropped a lot of information, especially about the belt, the underwear still being on him, and his socks still being on him, okay? But one of the things that he said, we talked about the fraternities. We talked about it live on the show. Like, hey, have you heard anything from the fraternity when you guys were at the funeral? Did they step up? Did they talk to you? So on and so forth. He's like, yeah, not really. They, some of them have, shook my hand and shook the family's hand and sent their condolences, but there wasn't really much interaction or conversation even after that. They've been very tight-lipped, etc. You want to know something funny that happened? I'm not kidding you. That same day, later on in that day, they posted that they were going to do a vigil. 2 days after we had the conversation with Chris Dingman, that same day, they posted that afternoon that they were going to do a vigil, a candlelit vigil. As soon as I bring up, hey, what's up with the frats? What's up with the frat boys? Why haven't they said anything? That's when they finally say, oh, we're doing a candlelight vigil for him now. Huh? Maybe it's the timing. Maybe it's not. But something very weird about that, guys. Because all I know is that the fraternity lawyered up and they have not said a doggone word to anyone, including the Strain family. But now, but at that time, suddenly out of nowhere, they were doing a candlelit vigil. Because they didn't show to the other candlelit vigil that apparently the university was already holding for Riley Strain. You see what I'm saying? It's weird. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that we need to be side-eyeing them for them doing something sinister in the disappearance of Riley. No. But how they're operating is wrong. Fine. You don't have to be out here talking to little old me or media or anything of that sort. But the fact that they have been so tight-lipped and the fact that they're hiding behind a lawyer does not look good by the court of public opinion. Let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. He asks about fraternities.
Everything we're seeing, it doesn't add up. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. If it was, we wouldn't be sitting here.
The fraternity brothers had not gone to the police when they called you?
Not that I am aware of.
Were you surprised?
Yes. Because why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they have called the police when they got back at 3:15 in the morning and didn't see him then?
I'm sorry, I want to roll that back one more time for the nosebleed seats. Hold up. Say that again.
When they called you?
Not that I am aware of.
Were you surprised?
Yes. Because why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they have called the police when they got back at 3:15 in the morning?
Right? You know, and the other thing is, this is another piece that I want to point out. She's making a solid point here, and it breaks my heart every time I see her speak about this, because you know she's hurting bad, and my heart goes out to the family. Real talk, and may he rest in peace. But this is interesting, don't you think? They were on the phone with him, or at least somebody. I am just assuming that it was the frat boys, his fraternity, trying to help him on his way back to the hotel. So let's talk about this. Remember, there was a witness that was crossing one of the infamous videos that we saw where he's crossing the intersection. There's a woman that was like, "Honey, you okay to drive?" And he's like, "I'm not driving. I can't even walk straight," right? He turns around, he keeps walking. Now, through that eyewitness, they said something about him like bending over the railing and purging at that moment. Clearly because he was really drunk. And maybe he drank something that was laced. We don't know yet. But he continues on, right? But they said that he was on the phone with somebody, two people, two voices on that phone that were basically saying, "He's okay, we got him. Riley, just keep walking straight." Now let's talk about that for a second. And it's interesting because it's like we're taking a trip down memory lane all over again. But anyway, we got to do it because this is a case that has not been solved. We do not know if it's foul play. We do not know if this was just a tragic accident. So that's why this case is still open, in my opinion. Those two people that were on the phone with him, allegedly those two people, I assume are his frat brothers. Probably he was on the phone sitting there going, "Hey, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm going. I'm heading towards the hotel." And they're sitting there going, "Yeah, follow your map, your Google Maps. Keep going straight like it's telling you, bro." Right? Okay, fine. He's saying that he's walking down the street. He's drunk. His frat boys are drunk as well. Okay? His frat brothers are drunk as well. But one thing that really drives me nuts and burns my cookies is why didn't they go to his hotel room to check if he made it home okay? Think about that for a second. Don't worry, I'll let that just sink all the way down to your plums. Think about that for a second. Now, I'm sure that's something that somebody else has already said on some other podcast or some other show, or maybe on a news station has asked that. But I am actually curious, why didn't they go and check if he was staying in a hotel room by himself? Because I don't know how the setup was. I don't know if he had a roommate, okay, if he had a hotel like suite mate or something like that sort, staying in the hotel, so that the cost of that hotel wouldn't be so expensive, so on and so forth, okay? But one thing that you have to think about, if he did not have a roommate, why didn't anyone go and knock on his door and see if he was even there? And if he didn't show up, why didn't anybody go out there, check on him? And then if they didn't find him, maybe that's when they start calling 911. After incessantly calling his ass. Think about that for a second. Think about your girl and boy down by the beach. Think about it. So mama and family got a strong point here. Why would they not call police 3:00 in the morning, noticing that he was lost in Nashville and he had not shown up to that hotel? Because let's be real. I'm sure in their drunk minds, they didn't realize that there were two different tempos that were on opposite sides of the city. One's a hotel, one is a music management company, but it's a building. And if you Google it, or if you MapQuest it, or whatever, Google Maps it, it could possibly send you to the tempo, the business building, instead of the hotel building. I'm sure the fraternity brothers didn't even know that. They're just there kicking it just like anybody else. No one's doing the math in their drunk minds right off the bat going, oh, maybe he went to the wrong one because, no, they're not pushing up their imaginary glasses off the brim of their nose, sitting there going, oh, well, you know, statistically, no, they're not thinking that. They're drunk. They're trying to get laid. They want to go home. They want to eat some greasy foods, pass out, wake up, and talk about how, you know, Rodney got too drunk and Sean got too stupid. You know what I mean? That's what they want to do during brunch the next day. But they did not once think about the livelihood and safety of Riley when they got home. You're telling me no one knocked on his door just to see if he showed up? No one?
And didn't see him then. Why wouldn't they have called the police? I don't know.
So 7 or 8 hours had gone by from the time they got back to the hotel to when they called you. Do you have any idea why they didn't call the police until then?
I don't know.
We called them on the way down, and it was probably close to 12 o'clock, and they were just going to the sheriff's detention center, to the sheriff's office to report him missing. That was probably 12:15, 12:30, somewhere in there. So,
wow. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm having a little bit of a coughing fit, but I'm going to roll that back one more time because that's very, 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 very important. Listen to that one more time. They didn't do anything until noon the next day. Oh, my God. Noon the next day. Hold on.
And didn't see him then. Why wouldn't they have called the police? I don't know.
So 7 or 8 hours had gone by from the time they got back to the hotel to when they called you. Do you have any idea why they didn't call the police until then?
I don't know.
we called them on the way down, and it was probably close to 12 o'clock, and they were just going to the sheriff's detention center, to the sheriff's office to report him missing. That was probably 12:15, 12:30, somewhere in there.
So 2 more hours had gone by from the initial call.
Yeah.
They still hadn't gone to the police.
Yikes. Let me just be real. I don't think that they did something like that. They had something to do with this. Maybe, you know what I mean? Excuse me. I don't automatically think that they had something to do with this. That's not my initial reaction. Personally, my gut reaction, shooting from the hip, I don't think that they had something to do with this tragedy. But how they moved afterwards is very irresponsible. And the fact that there is no care for his safety hurts so much. Let me play a little bit more of this, but this hurts. Fellas, man, we got to talk, fellas. Let me play.
Yeah, 14 hours after his last ping of where his phone was.
Do you think they were just scared, or do you have any idea why?
It's $1 million question.
So what happened when you got to Nashville?
So when we got there, all the boys were out. Well, not all the boys, but several of the boys were out front with a police officer. And we had to finish filling out the report. So we completed that, and the boys stayed out for a while. And then they all of a sudden disappeared, all of the boys. And they...
Why, though? But why? Why did they suddenly disappear? What the hell? Like I said, we live in such a messed up time, guys. My God. What happened to people, man? What happened to people? Y'all? Damn. Let me continue. This is so ridiculous. Are we not raising our kids right? Are we not raising our kids to actually give a damn? Like literally, what happened to giving a damn? Like it's just common. Like it should go without saying, right? It should go without saying. You take care of your fellow man or woman. That's it. And yo, let me roll that back, and I'm gonna play this. My Lord.
Police officer, and we had to finish filling out the report. So we completed that, and the boys stayed out for a while, and then they all of a sudden disappeared, all of the boys, and they ended up back out a little while later in their dress clothes to go out to their formal that night.
They even went out to go kick it? What? Oh my God.
So we completed that, and the boys stayed out for a while, and then they all of a sudden disappeared, all of the boys, and they ended up back out a little while later in their dress clothes to go out to their formal that night.
But why would you even? You got one of your brothers gone. Why would you suddenly? Oh my Lord! How can you be so heartless? Come on, man.
They went to the formal?
Yeah.
Wow. That's insane.
I mean, these are his fraternity brothers?
Mm-hmm. Fraternity brothers, roommates, friends from high school.
We spent the next 4.5 hours searching every emergency room to see if he was in the hospital. We come back and they're coming back, some of them from the party, and they're waving at us as we're sitting in the truck. How's that make you feel?
That puts hate in my heart. Like real talk, that kind of treatment. What fraternity is this called again? What is it? Delta Chi or something like that? Something ridiculous. What? This is not Greek life, y'all. They teach you, and I never was in the fraternity life because I didn't like that stuff. That's not for me. Okay. And I get some other people do it for connections and all that crap, but that stuff doesn't really even hold up anymore. It's not like what it was back in the day. But Greek life, they teach you to treat each other like y'all are blood. You treat your fellow fraternity brother like they're your own. No soldier left behind type stuff. What's up with this world? And what's up with this fraternity that they have the audacity to actually go to this party, dress up, go kick it, instead of staying at that precinct or staying with that family and making sure that Riley came home? Now, we got some things we got to do. We got to continue going and kicking it and drinking and doing our thing. The most selfish son of a...
Would have thought they would have all banded together like a search group that night.
Yeah, 150, 160 of them on the ground, there from all different chapters.
Jesus.
And, they told us that they were there. All of them were there if we needed them. We didn't know what we needed at that point in time, but you would have thought that, they would have at least been out searching, trying to do something. It wasn't.
Or something.
So the night after he went missing, you were out searching, and the fraternity brothers were partying.
Son of a gun.
What were you thinking?
We weren't very happy with them, to say the least. It's appalling.
You all received a letter from someone else who was staying at the same hotel, who described a little bit of what they heard that night that Riley went missing. I just want to read part of it. At first, I thought it was a bunch of drunk college kids being jealous of girlfriend-boyfriend stuff, but it was too loud and went on too long. They were in halls. I could hear them between the walls. The doors for the hotel rooms are very heavy, so they slam. when you let them shut. I woke up at 3:15 a.m. to numerous doors slamming, kids in the hall, both boys and girls, having very loud discussions, going back and forth from rooms multiple times. It was like new kids kept showing up on the floor during the entire period. These kids were freaking out about something.
Interesting. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna repeat that part again, because that piece of information, I'm wondering, wait, so you're telling me this happened the night that he went missing? Or did this happen the next night? Can I just play that piece one more time? Because I'm sure a lot of y'all are wondering that too. Yeah, Amanda, I'm like, what the what? What? Shout out to Gizla. All right. Grizzly True Crime. Okay. Also a goat, let me tell you, or one of the goats, okay, in the game. Shout out to Gizla. But what? Can I just play that one more time? Okay, guys? Please just bless me with that, because I want to make sure that the timeline, so I understand that a little bit too. Let's take a listen to that. Somebody said it was the next night, but let me just make sure, because that's Nuck and Futz. Hold on.
At least. It's appalling.
You all received a letter from someone else who was staying at the same hotel, who described a little bit of what they heard that night that Riley went missing. I just want to read part of it. At first, I thought it was a bunch of drunk college kids being jealous of girlfriend-boyfriend stuff, but it was too loud and went on too long. They were in halls. I could hear them between the walls. The doors for the hotel rooms are very heavy, so they slam when you let them shut. I woke up at 3:15 a.m. to numerous doors slamming, kids in the hall, both boys and girls, having very loud discussions, going back and forth from rooms multiple times. It was like new kids kept showing up on the floor during the entire period. These kids were freaking out about something.
Hold on. So you're saying that happened that night? Am I correct? Is this letter that was written about a bunch of frat boys and a whole bunch of girly girls, maybe some sorority girls, freaking out the very night that Riley went missing? What? Wait, what? Okay, hold on. Okay. We're gonna tranquilo. Uno momento. Let's talk about this for a second. Before we fly off the handle. Hold on. Now, we have to understand, and because I've just this case has had so many different rumors, so many different things, so many different eyewitness accounts, etc., and it has spun off this planet many, many times into crazy land, okay, or into the crazy universe. So I have to say this just to keep things safe, okay, just to keep things nice and tight. First off, what the? That's instantly what I think in my head, and then two, I go, this is someone that could be telling the truth, or this could be someone that could have their days mixed up, their nights mixed up. Just so you know. I'm just saying. Mes amis, this is crazy if it's true. Because instantly you wonder, if it was 3-something in the morning, the night that Riley went missing, what were they freaking out about? Were they freaking out about the safety and trying to find Riley? Or did something else, or is there something else involved? Because why wouldn't they give a damn, call 911 or anything of that sort, if there was such a tizzy at 3-something in the morning at the same night that Riley went missing? Why would they wait till midday the next day to even call 911, to even give a damn? Then on top of it, if it was really that concerning, Why didn't they go and stay with them? Why did they continue with the festivities, continue kicking it and all that stuff? I'm telling you right now, if one of my close friends or an acquaintance through my group of friends or whatever went missing during our time of good times, I'm not kicking it. You will not see me drink one drink. I'll be standing right next to the family going, nah, I'm staying here. You can do whatever the hell you want, y'all. Go party. I don't care, because that's some selfish ass-ish. I'm standing right next to the family, and I'm going to make sure that everything's okay. And I'm going to continue standing next to the family until things are figured out. Because I would feel responsible, because I'd feel like that was on my watch. That's my brother. That's my friend. Maybe an acquaintance, whatever, but that was the group of friends, part of that group that came out to have a good time. I'd feel responsible for this, y'all. So if that is true, again, let's err on the side of this being potentially not solid information, okay? Just to err on the side of caution. This is pretty wild claims. But we also got to remember how the fraternity went on and operated from this point on. From the moment that he went missing to the time that the parents came in to file police reports, etc., they were very much standoffish and pulled all the way back. So if there was such a commotion that very night, it makes you wonder, what was the commotion about? If this is true, what was the commotion all about? I'm playing it one more time, guys. I know, oh God, Pascal, move on. No. I'm going to play it one more time, because I know a lot of y'all are like, what? Okay. What the what? Let me just play that one more time. Just this letter, and we're going to keep moving.
They heard that night that Riley went missing. I just want to read part of it. At first, I thought it was a bunch of drunk cops.
So they said that night. I'm so sorry. Let me roll that back. This is what Brian said. This is Brian Enton saying that this happened the night of him going missing. Okay? The night he went missing, this is what this person that was on the same floor as a lot of these fraternity brothers were on said.
Who described a little bit of what they heard that night that Riley went missing. I just want to read part of it. At first, I thought it was a bunch of drunk college kids being jealous of girlfriend-boyfriend stuff, but it was too loud and went on too long. They were in halls. I could hear them between the walls. The doors for the hotel rooms are very heavy, so they slam when you let them shut. I woke up at 3:15 a.m. to numerous doors slamming, kids in the hall, both boys and girls, having very loud discussions, going back and forth from rooms multiple times. It was like new kids kept showing up on the floor during the entire period. These kids were freaking out about something.
That's wild.
You ever able to find out what was going on in the hotel that night?
From one of the friends that I talked to this week, apparently he had hurt his hand that night. Didn't really specify what he had done, but apparently it had to do with a hurt hand that night.
What?
And people being emotional about it.
So people are emotional about a hurt hand? What?
One of the
kids were freaking out about something. Were you ever able to find out what was going on in the hotel that night?
From one of the friends that I talked to this week, apparently he had hurt his hand that night. Didn't really specify what he had done, but apparently it had to do with a hurt hand that night. And people being emotional about it. Apparently it didn't have anything to do with Riley.
Really? He hurt his hand, so everybody was freaking out like that? The whole floor erupted in disarray over a hurt hand? Did he break his hand? That's what I'd like to know. Or was there a knife that went through his hand or something? Was he doing one of those things with the knife, I mean, that's a little old school, but you know what I'm saying? The knife thing? No, I don't believe it at all. Oh, they were freaking out over a hurt hand? The what? Stop it. Okay, stop it. Let's continue.
Do you think there's information that his frat brothers have that they're not sharing?
I feel like yes, maybe. No, I mean, I haven't sat down and talked to any of them to say, tell me your whole entire story. Would I like that? Yeah, yes, it would be nice.
Now that you've found Riley, do you feel like you have a different purpose in terms? I mean, do you want to know everything that happened? Is there like a hole? How would you describe it?
Of course, there's a hole in my heart. There always will be. And we may never know what happened that night, and that makes it even worse for me. But yeah, I would like to know everything that happened that day.
I don't understand why they haven't reached out to us wanting to provide information of that night. You know, maybe I'm crazy, but why should we have to reach out to them and beg them for information on a missing brother?
Did his brothers come to the funeral?
Mm-hmm.
They did. They were shuttled down on a bus, basically chaperoned through. They were loaded back up on a bus and back to school they went again.
Chaperoned through, loaded back on the bus, and shoved back into school. Interesting.
Do you think the fraternity is trying to protect the fraternity? I mean, in terms of like a lawsuit or reputation, or I mean, what do you think is happening behind the scenes?
I think it's a reputation blow.
I do. Yeah. There were a couple of things that happened over this last week. They had a memorial service for him in Columbia, and we were notified 3 hours before.
You heard that? I'm not kidding. Man, hold up. This is only 24 seconds left, but I need to send something to myself right quick because it's horse manure. Real quick, because I want to show this to you, proof positive. I'm not kidding. This literally happened. Organized within seconds of the show that I interviewed Chris Dingman on. I just want to make that abundantly clear. Let me roll that back a little bit. I'm going to share this with you guys in just a second. But notice, they weren't notified until 3 hours before the candlelight vigil was supposed to commence. What the hell is that?
Over this last week, they had a memorial service for him in Columbia, and we were notified 3 hours before. Well, we know it takes 3 hours to get to Columbia. I mean, I thought this was a brotherhood, you know.
Riley Strain's parents with our own Brian Enton. Thank you.
Okay. 3 hours before they were supposed to have this event. Now, here it is. I've been side-eyeing the fraternity, but I've been side-eyeing the fraternity myself because of how they've operated throughout the search and how they've been hiding throughout this entire time since we've been trying to find where Riley Strain is. Instantly, I've been looking at them in a very inquisitive way. And I think a lot of us have. This is very interesting, this video here, this interview, talking about the fraternity themselves, saying that, and getting some insight on how the fraternity was actually moving and operating during the time that Riley Strain went missing, all the way to the funeral, even beyond the funeral. It's pretty wild, guys. It's pretty crazy. Now, there is something I do want to share with you guys, because like I said it to you guys in the very beginning, before we went into this, and I didn't realize that they were going to talk about the memorial service and all that, that they were holding. Okay, let me explain something to you before we get into this. I had Chris Dingman on the show. Like I said, always a blessing to have our brother Chris on the show, giving us insight, giving us information on the Riley Strain case. And of course, they are doing everything they can to find Riley Strain, they were at that time. And of course, they're trying to find the truth about what happened to Riley Strain. That's what I meant. So he came on, he was dropping knowledge, dropping bombshells, information, blah, blah, blah. Really appreciated it. But I even asked him, sup with the fraternity? Have they stepped forward? Have they shown any love? Have they shown any support? And then some, right? He said, well, yeah, they showed up at the funeral. They gave their condolences. They showed up. But that was about it. They didn't say anything. And I said, that's a little bit odd. I mean, are they just holding everything close to the vest? Is this some BS fraternities, vow of secrecy type thing? You know what I mean? Like there's some stupid secret society BS type thing that they're not allowed to talk because they're fraternity brothers and that's just part of their creed. And he's like, no, I don't really think it's that. It's just, they just haven't really said anything. They just didn't say anything at all. And it's a bit weird. Obviously, I don't want to put words in Chris's mouth, but definitely go check out that interview. Okay, it's in the playlist, in the Riley Strain playlist. I think it's the most recent video, the recent live video that I had. Okay, revolving around this case. But after we get done talking about this, I'm not kidding. Hours later, I get hit up. I'm not kidding with this. This is a post from the Delta, I don't know what they are, the Delta Chi, I guess, the fraternity. They posted that very day. I'm not kidding. They posted this. Let's take a good look at this. Okay, we're going to scan this whole thing. Of course, this is Riley Strain's face. Of course, they say, in loving memory of brother. I want you to see something. Thursday. Now, when I interviewed Chris Dingman and we had this conversation, or the conversation ventured into the fraternities, involvement with his disappearance or just them getting involved in the investigation and trying to find Riley. We talked about it. And what's interesting, that very day, they post a thing saying that they're doing their own candlelight vigil. And I interviewed and had a conversation with Chris. I think if I'm correct, I think that was on a Tuesday morning. They were going to do it 2 days later. And they said, yep, we're going to do it Thursday. We're going to do it quickly. The sooner we can do it, the sooner they can get out of our hair, right? At least that's how it's looking optically. Candlelight vigil. They weren't even doing one. They didn't even talk about not a damn thing about no candlelight vigil, but it's very convenient how they decided to do this at the very last minute and out of nowhere. Oh yeah, in 2 days, we're going to be doing a candlelight vigil for our brother. Please wear green in Riley's honor. Thursday. This is 2 days after I had that conversation with Chris. They posted this hours after my conversation with Chris. After me talking to him about the fraternity and their involvement, this suddenly was posted 3 or 4 hours later. That's weird, y'all. Now, I know some of you guys, even myself had a moment, there's a little pushback where I'm like, well, it could have been a coincidence. No, this ain't a coincidence. They know exactly what was going on. They were watching the show. It was a big show. A lot of people were tuning in. A lot of people were wanting to ask questions. Multiple people were watching. Multiple. So you're telling me they just happened to do this at the same time? On the same day? After that big ass interview? When we are asking specifically about the fraternities? Just saying, I was born during the day, but I wasn't born yesterday. So when I see this, and when I get this received to me, and they're like, yo, look at this. This is crazy. I go, oh, okay. Oh, they watching. Hi, fraternity. Hi. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. But this is sus. And what you just heard from that interview, shout out to Brian Enton. Oh, my Lord. Okay? Shout out to Brian Enton. Okay? But still, what they just said was crazy. Crazy. And if it is true, because everything could be coincidence, could. We can't completely just take that off the table unless there's solid evidence. But damn, does it seem like it's doesn't it look like the shoe might be fitting? One thing I do want to point out, I just got to go back to that letter part, because that letter part is crazy. Okay. It's what they say after about the hurt hand that I want you guys to listen to. Just one more again. It's the reaction of what they say about, it's what the fraternity says about the hurt hand. I think that's worth listening to one more again, because it's really important. So hold on. Take a listen to this one more time.
Entire period, these kids were freaking out about something. Were you ever able to find out what was going on in the hotel that night?
From one of the friends that I talked to this week, apparently he had hurt his hand that night. Didn't really specify what he had done, but apparently it had to do with a hurt hand that night. And people being emotional about it. Apparently it didn't have anything to do with Riley.
I want to point something out. Numero uno on the table. This means that this letter is telling the truth. So, whatever commotion that was happening, and from this letter that was sent to the family about this commotion, that means that account is true. If you got other people going, yeah, it was, it was a thing, but I hurt my hand. It hurt my hand, and everyone was emotional about it. I just hurt my hand, and people were really upset about it. So therefore, I hurt my hand. You're telling people we're slamming doors, going back and forth over a hurt hand? Can I see the medical records of your said hurt hand? Did you go to the doctor? Can I see a photo of the hand? Can I see proof positive that you actually hurt your hand so bad that we would see bruising on your hand? Sup with that. Also, I want to point out too, guys, yes, this is crazy, okay? This is crazy information. And this person that's sitting there going, yeah, I hurt my hand. And everybody was upset, emotional about it. It was just emotion. Okay, fine. If it was emotion, cool. Fine. But you are confirming that there was commotion that was happening inside that hotel hallway, etc. They were treating that whole hallway like it was like a dormitory. I'm sure doors were open, so on and so forth. They're going in and out of these rooms. They just turned this whole place into one big ass room kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Those who went to college know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? But what's interesting about this, if this is true, one thing we have to put in consideration, Tempo Hotel is nowhere near where Riley was last found alive, was last seen alive. I just want to make that abundantly clear. They were on the other side of the city. He's down by a river on the other side of the city. I just want to make that abundantly clear. Okay? Opposite side. They're here and they're over he's over here. I want to make that abundantly clear. He was walking towards the wrong tempo. So whatever they were reacting to, somebody could have come back after something bad happening with Riley, or somebody literally could have hurt their hand and they were being emotional and dramatic about that situation. That's a possibility. But again, no matter what, they were still up at 3 o'clock in the morning, yelling, making noise, being emotional, so on and so forth. There was a commotion of some sort. And still, that does not justify why they didn't call 911 or even go and look to see if Riley was okay. No matter what, we could look at all that other fluff. We could look at that letter and go, you know, we can all think this because I think it in my head. Right? Instantly, we're like, what? You know, thinking, oh, my Lord. We also got to remember, they were on the opposite side of the city. He's on one side, they're on the other during this time. We have to put that into consideration. Anything's possible. I'm sure some of y'all can come up with your own equations, okay, of timelines and whatnot. But just to think about this real quick, they were on the opposite side of the city. The only part that I see so far, unless there's some more smoking gun information from this, is that they really screwed up by not checking in on Riley. And then how they treated things later is trash to me too. The fact that they didn't call 911 or try to get police involved until noon the very next day, I get it. You could sit there, sleep in. You're out there kicking it, doing late nights. There's girls involved. Let's not forget that too. There could have been some sleepovers, if you get what I'm saying. And you're waking up the next day, blah, blah, blah. Possibilities are endless here. But those possibilities are still on the table. But it also shows to you that these frat boys are a-holes. I'm going to say it. They're absolute self-centered a-holes. You knew for a fact that your brother was out there in the middle of nowhere by himself, drunk out his mind. You knew he was kicked out of that bar. You saw all that stuff. At least two of y'all knew. Where were you? Why weren't you looking up for him? Why aren't you knocking on his door, checking in on him, calling his phone over and over and over again? And when he doesn't call or pick up, why weren't you notifying 5-0? This is the problem that we have right now, guys. And it goes with the fellas. In fact, I'm even going to say it to you girls, too. Girly girls, baby babes, sweet tings out there. Let me tell you something, y'all. Y'all need to start giving a damn about each other because y'all don't. All this BS of everyone's too worried about the likes and the views and the whatever that they don't even give a damn about your fellow person, flesh and blood, right next to you. That's mind-blowing to me. And I know that with fellas, it's a lot worse. Fend for yourself, bro. I got this. I'm going to go and do my thing. You know, you go out and hunt and gather. I'm going to hunt and gather too. Deuces, bro. A lot of times we hear those stories. Guys get, meet up and then they split up. Instead of like, we going to go and kick it together. It's more like we're going to go and kick it together until we find a girl to go kick it with. And then when we find the girl, hey, bro, yeah, man, yeah, I'm going to see you. And it's like, man, I was just, okay, I'll just finish this cocktail and stand out here by myself until I find a girl too, I guess. Or maybe I'll just go home and play Fortnite. You know exactly what I'm talking about, fellas. That self-centered BS is absolutely insane to me. I expected more from this fraternity. From all fraternities, all sororities. Shoot, I expect more from human beings in general. But a lot of times we don't see people giving a damn about the safety and livelihood of their fellow man. A lot of times it's like, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. And then you go off and do your thing, but your friend is in bad shape, or your friend may have had a little bit too much that night, and they're just literally face in a porcelain throne, and you're just like, I'm here to kick it, and you met like, and it's like, wait a second, your friend's drunk. Take care of your friend. Put them in an Uber, send their drunk ass on their way, and then you can go on and do your thing. And then you can pat yourself on the back, since some are so selfish. You pat yourself on the back going, yeah, I did my good deed for the night. And then you can proceed to go on and have fun and maybe get some numbers and whatnot. Reach out to them. Make sure that they get home okay. Hey, text me when you get home. Why is it that when it comes to fellas, I've said this a million times, I'm going to say it again though. Why is it so hard for us fellas to actually give a damn about our fellow man, one of our brothers, our friends, our dudes, our ace? Dude will do anything for you. Real talk. You'd do anything for him too, but when it comes to going out and kicking it, that the rules don't apply anymore? I'm just saying. Especially when it comes to getting numbers and getting that boo-hooty. Suddenly no one gives a damn anymore. Suddenly it's like, I got to go do me. I got to do mine. You going to do yours. Yeah, if you get drunk, sorry. See ya. Let me get the selfie real quick. Because if it's not in a selfie, it didn't actually happen. Right? Why can't we turn to each other and say, hey, man, text me when you get home, because I know, we tried one on tonight, and it was a good time. And I know you're taking an Uber, but text me when you get home, bro. That ain't femme. How did that become femme? How is that emasculating to let another brother know that you got your ass home in one piece? I'm home. That's all you need to say. It's not like I'm home. I had such a great time. Oh my God, those espresso martinis, they're to die for. You don't have to do that. Come on. Just say I'm home. That's it. I'm home, G. I'm home, champ. That's it. And move the F on. And then the person knows that you home okay. What is wrong with that? And sweethearts, my ladies out here, let's keep it a buck. Your friend has too much to drink. It's your responsibility to make sure that they get their drunk ass in an Uber and get their drunk ass home. You don't have to be in the Uber with them. But if they're in the bathroom, puking their faces off, hair all up in the toilet, it's your responsibility to hold their hair back. Now, I get it. To each their own, fend for yourselves, survival of the fittest and all that stuff. But at the same time, if your friend had too much to drink, hold it down for her. Be a true blue friend. True blue don't exist with friend anymore. It's frustrating. I'm even wondering if Riley had actual friends in this fraternity, or if he just happened to be pledged in and these guys didn't even rock with him in that kind of way. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense, guys. It just doesn't make sense. And a lot of times you see these young girls shoot, not even young girls, girls in general. And now we're hearing about fellas too that'll get a little too drunk and something tragic happens. I'm telling you, I kid you not. Been to plenty of events, plenty of parties, plenty of bars, and mine eyes have seen the glory. You know what I mean? I've seen enough of people where they had too much to drink, passed out in a corner on the floor, curled up in a ball, and their girls was just like, whatever, and they keep moving. Fellas, same thing. Oh yeah, he's just drunk, he'll be fine. And they keep him moving. No. A lot of those people are lucky that they got home alive that night. We need to start giving a damn, guys. We really need to start giving a damn. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but these youngins out here don't know a damn thing about caring for the other people, for the other person. It drives me crazy. There has been, I will say, just to throw a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel here, a little silver lining in those gray clouds. I have actually seen people starting to step up even more now. I'm not kidding. They're like, because of the Riley Strain case, I feel like I need to help that person. I feel like there's a need to be there and be more observant of the people around me. And maybe this is the reason why this happened. Maybe his death won't be in vain. There needs to be the pendulum needs to swing back towards taking care of each other. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. It's time to start taking care of each other. But a lot of times now, I'm hoping that if you ever see somebody who's out here passed out, drunk, or looks like they're in bad shape, lend a helping hand. You don't have to babysit them all night. They're not your responsibility. Hopefully the person who's responsible, like their friend, will step up and be their friend. But if they're not willing to be there for you, if that friend just leaves you high and dry, literally, sometimes high and completely wet, all right, because you're covered in your own, purge, your own vomit, then those aren't friends. Those aren't friends to hang out with. Friends are supposed to hold you down. They're supposed to be an extension of family. They're supposed to hold you down. So fellas, for God's sake, it's time to change the way we think about going out nowadays. We live in very dangerous times. It does not matter if you're male or female. Doesn't matter what race you are. Doesn't matter what religion you are, what God you pray to, whatever. Doesn't matter what you like sexually or not. Doesn't matter. Evil comes in many shapes and sizes. It wears many masks. It wears many faces. God forbid one of your friends has a little bit too much to drink and they disappear too. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. So reach out to your friends. Make sure that they get home okay. Like I said, it's not emasculating to check in on your friend. It really isn't. It's the right thing to do. You're being an adult. You're being selfless instead of selfish. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all you guys for being here. It's time for a change, y'all. It's time for a change. I will say this, though, just a quick update. I may be having the Riley Strain family on the show tomorrow morning. I just want to let you guys know that. I haven't had them on the show yet, but it looks like that's not tomorrow morning. I'm sorry. It looks like I will be having the Riley Strain family on the show tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. I just want to give you guys that heads up. We'll be doing an exclusive, sitting down and talking about everything. And I messed up here. So I need to make sure I get these two here real quick. Show ain't over yet. We got some super chats. So sorry. I got wrapped up in trying to send that conversation and send that point all the way home. Let's take care of each other, okay? But real quick, Angel, thank you so much for becoming a member. Black Witter, thank you so much for being a member for the past 4 months. I really do appreciate the heart emoji. Appreciate it. Rianne, thank you so much. Traveling to the Mo, but we've been searching that taste talked of. Okay. We're at the conclusion, his drink. Oh, okay. We've been researching that taste that he talks of. Yes. We're at the conclusion, his drink was tainted with a colorless substance. But the thing is does it taste like barbecue though? That's a question I'm kind of curious about. Okay. Rianne, thank you so much for gifting one membership. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Nicole B, thank you. Riley probably also didn't check his brow at times when they bar hopped his brow. What do you mean by that? Check his brow. Okay. They just didn't end up missing. What is brow? He didn't check on his bro, maybe at times? I don't know what that means. His bro. Okay. He didn't check on his bro at times. When they bar hopped, they just didn't end up missing. Yep. College culture sucks. Poor mama. Yes, definitely. College culture sucks ass. Okay? It really does. And it's extremely self-centered. I'm going to be real. It is. It's all about getting drunk, getting laid, whatever. Okay? For real. Stephs, thank you so much. Rumor is the noise was concern of a hurt hand of, I guess, fraternity brother, frat brother. They spoke of that because the concern for a hurt hand seemed more important. Yes, that is if that is the true piece, right? That is if that entire thing is true, right? I mean, the fact that there was commotion is actually real. Now it's the question of who had the hurt hand and what happened? Where was this person with the hurt hand? And why did that happen? And it's weird that it happened on the same night. But again, when you're drinking like that and it's 3:00 in the morning and you're drinking like they were drinking, I guarantee you those guys were 7,000 sheets to the wind. Okay. S-Dubs, thank you so much. What light can the lady at the bar shed? Caller. Interesting. I'll ask. I'll see what's up. I will see what's up. Okay. Jody, thank you so much. Friends put something in his drink for joke. That's another good theory, or that's another good question. I don't know. But like I said, does the drinks that he was taking or the drinks that he was having, would it taste like barbecue? Something to think about. Miss Curvy, thank you so much for the super sticker. But yeah, that's something to think about for sure. I don't know. That's the one main question I ask. Does a drink that's laced taste like barbecue? Something to think about, okay? Definitely something to think about. Again, thank you guys so much for all the super chats, all the support, etc. I will say this. It looks like there will be a conversation tomorrow night with Riley Strain's family or members of Riley Strain's family, which hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, I really look forward to speaking with them. And so we could talk a little bit more at length. This information that was dropped last night, I am very shocked, and shame on the fraternity on how they operated. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm very disappointed. I think a lot of y'all are disappointed. The fraternity should have done better. And hopefully we are looking at this and we are learning from this so that we can be better as people. Let's start taking care of each other. Cinco de Mayo is right around the corner. A lot of people are going to be out there getting wasted. If you are with friends and you're going to tie one on, hey, more power to you. Just please do it safely and keep an eye on each other, period. Okay, Memorial Day weekend's coming up, etc. Like I said, all these big events, we need to start taking care of each other, period. Okay, I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really does mean a lot. I'll be on a little bit later on tonight. Be on the lookout for that. Please do me a favor, hit that like button down below. We got to talk about Sade Robinson. We are definitely going to be talking about her tonight. We got to talk about that dating pool and that dating world. It's cutthroat out here. It is very dangerous. So hit that like button down below, please and thank you. Hit that reaction button. Don't forget to hit that follow button on my Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Follow me on all those social medias, or take your pick. Okay. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that join button. Become a member. If you want to support even further, go to patreon.com/the Pascal Show. Send the ticker down below me right now, going that way as we speak. Show some support, okay? These purple lights don't pay for themselves. Check out pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, and the store's fire. So please go check it out, okay? Please and thank you. Okay, guys, I appreciate all y'all. Make sure that notification bell is set to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. We will be on tonight around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to talk about the absolutely tragic case of Sade. I keep on saying Sadie. Sade Robinson. And of course, welcome to the family. Trained Monkey, thank you so much for becoming a member. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. All right, guys. But Sade Robinson will be happening tonight around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So 2 hours away from now. Okay? Gonna go drink some water, rest this voice, and we got to keep on speaking up for the voiceless. So anyway, guys, it's time to get going. I appreciate all y'all. See you guys at 7. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.